Okay, good to meet you, Ram, and congratulations for the SpotboyE Salaams Award, which is the Best Director Critics.
Thank you.
Do you have anything to say about getting the Critics Award instead of the main award?
I suppose soon I'll get the main award.
Why is the Critics secondary award?
No, obviously it seems to be such because I'm quite happy with whatever award I get, but it seems like the popular award is what you have to, that's when the numbers count, I suppose. And numbers means that return of investment, and return of investment means I get to make my next film faster.
So you'd rather be popular than a critic's delight?
No, I'd rather be both. Quite honestly, I'd rather be both.
Is that possible?
I think it's possible. I think with Neerja, I think we have, actually quite honestly, I think we've got more than our share of commercial. It's very rare to get what I call as 4 different kinds of successes. So we've got commercial success, for sure. It is actually after Dangal, it is the highest return of investment. Till Dangal, it was the highest return of investment last year. So we've got commercial success, we've got critical success, we have personal success. I like the film.
Okay. Modest. Okay.
And I think that you you also have not just commercial success, but what I call as popular success. Sometimes a film can be a commercial success, but people may not like it. And I think the great thing about Neerja is I think it's very rare in your career to get all these 4 successes.
Okay, Sonam mentioned the scene where she has to deal with the letter as the toughest one and the most demanding one and very emotionally draining.
Yes.
While you, from an earlier conversation, told me about the scene where she has to sit and eat the biscuit.
It's the same
biscuit
scene. Yeah, the same. It's a chocolate biscuit, but it's the same scene.
Yeah.
And she is incredibly good in that scene, there's no question, because also the thing that I do is when I'm doing a close-up, I'm doing it with 250 people in the plane. So everybody's there at all times. And because I'm shooting with 4 cameras, and I shoot very long takes. And I shoot so that I'm interested in life before action and life after cut. I'm also not just interested in life in between action and cut, which is what I call as the industrial process or the handcuffs of the industrial process of filmmaking, which is that you roll camera, where's my look, thermocol hai, okay, mood mein hai, action. I think that just this way of shooting, and then you set up this side and then you set up that side, just ruins.
So are you a friend to, say, Sonam Kapoor during the filming of this, or are you more like a father figure or an uncle?
My age means that I'm actually just a friend.
You're 18, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Okay.
No, you know what? Actually, you can't be. I think you wear different hats at different times, quite honestly. So a lot of it depends on what that requires.
Do you get emotionally attached to your artist? So when the film and project finishes, it's like almost okay, then you maybe talk once in a while, but do you get emotionally attached to your artist?
Yes. Like for instance, Baman, who was there in my first film, Let's Talk, he's one of my closest friends. I know that when, I do go across to Shabana's house, I do go across to Sonam's house, and not that I know everything about their lives, but there is a certain fondness and a certain attachment.
Okay. So, we asked Shabana this question, if the last scene wasn't there,
right,
would she have won the awards? What's your point or take?
I think that there is an arc that she has in the film, and you can see that arc, which is that from non-acceptance to a certain madness of, meaning from what's happening over here to a certain madness to a resignation, and then to overcome. The reason the film was made and the reason I made the film, or at least the reason that I even directed the script towards a certain way that we wanted to go, which was a mother-daughter story, is because I was extremely, how do you get over the loss of your child? People, as a parent, I'm awake at 4 o'clock in the morning if my son is not home. And and when I met Rama Bhanot, one understood that there's a certain spirit that she has, which is something which I wanted to try and see, how is it that she has this spirit? How did she recover from what happened? Whether Shabana got the the award because of the last speech, I don't know. But what I do know is that I would not make the film without that last speech, because I knew from the very beginning, because when I was speaking to Saivan and Sanyukta, that this is not a hijack film. This is a mother-daughter story about how do you overcome the loss of a child.
Does that last scene for you recall Mother India and Diwar in any way? Because that's where the mother also comes in, you know, after the child's death as such.
Well, I mean, to even talk about that in the same breath is something which I'd rather not do, because those are great films, and it was not conscious to even begin to compare or even, you know, drive sort of draw from them.
I used to know Mr. Harish Bhanot personally. I mean, I was a rookie reporter, and he used to guide us. And in the film, he has a brief role, and not really the way he was.
Is that so? Okay.
Yes, he was much more, you know, he was a much more lively person who won't sit in one place.
But
yeah,
you knew him after Neerja's...
yes, of course.
Knew him after,
him, and he immediately came to work soon after the tragedy. And I think he was just his normal self.
We see him in the film.
Very contained.
No, we see him, the first time that we see him is when he receives the news. And then we see him dealing with the news. We see him within a period of 16 hours. So the character that you perhaps knew after was not the character that I was looking at, because you're seeing a father under crisis.
Yeah.
You're seeing a family under crisis. And then the next time that you see him is actually in the memoriam of his daughter. So you're seeing it happening to him.
Okay. At some level, I found the male characters to be a bit shadowy, whether it was her beau, played by Shekhar, or her brothers. They weren't really fleshed out, were they?
Well, I suppose that's a good accusation, because I'd rather be accused of having male characters who are sketchy than female characters who are sketchy.
Yes. Okay. Conceded. Okay. Some directors get very involved in the filmmaking process. Did you start crying while filming the film?
No. I'm very objective when I'm filming. But the first time I saw the rough cut, which was about 2 hours and 45 minutes, and finally the film is about 2 hours. But the first time I saw the rough cut, I did cry, and therefore I said, okay, I'm fine. Because I think one of the things that my job is actually to be the audience. And so if I was to say, the director's job is actually to capture feelings like as if you're capturing with a butterfly net. And so I go around capturing feelings or energy. And a lot of the system that I have, which is what I call as the 10 rules to get to truth. Okay, and I know that this sounds extremely, how shall I say, arrogant of me to even think about that I have these 10 rules, but I am quite, I sort of, articulate them, then I put it down, and then I pass it on. And that's my other job, which is to have this vision and then pass it on. And so if I was to define the director's job, then it is to have a vision, pass it on, and then I'm in the business of capturing feelings.
Okay.
And so therefore, that means that I have to constantly be in the receiving end of that feeling. If I don't get that feeling, then I'm not going to get it to the audience.
So Sonam Kapoor hates tears, glycerine tears.
Yeah, she doesn't use glycerine.
Yes, exactly. So sometimes isn't it very emotionally draining for an actor to get into that position where she must call for her emotional memory and get into the character skin?
So, which is why I'm very concerned about not having the actor do more than one take, if I can get it in the first take. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no take two in life. And so I do everything that I can, and therefore my focus puller, it's very important for the focus puller to know, and I don't rehearse. Okay. My workshops, I do 15, 20 days of workshops, and within that, in the workshops, what happens is that you begin to understand what your character is, and I have an associate director, Vinod Rawat, who's also the acting coach, and he's incredibly good about what I call as how do I get to interiority, and which is different from, because I think a lot of our school of acting comes from to show, and I have to make sure that my actors are not coming from a school that says to show, but they come from a school that says to be. Okay. And a lot of that means that when they're in that feeling, in that moment to be, then you know that when Sonam is crying, she's not acting. She seems like as if she's there. It's happening.
Now this was a great subject. You couldn't possibly go wrong with it. So
I don't know about that. I could have gone very wrong with it.
No, it's such a powerful subject. But do you have more biopics in mind because they're the flavor of the season or the years?
Yeah, last year seemed to have been like full of biopics, but it almost felt like 6-8 filmmakers got together in the year 2012 and said in the year 2016, we will all make sure that these biopics come out. There was a secret society of filmmakers who had this conversation.
Yes.
I have nothing against or for biopics. I think it depends on what it is, whether it comes out or whatever works. And for me, not whatever works for the audience. I think eventually if it grabs me and I can live with it for most scripts that I've been working on, like Neerja took us about 2.5 years by the time we were ready with the script. The other films that I've been working on, the one that I'm doing right now, Bodhidharma, has taken 6 years. So it means it has to be a subject that allows you to be occupied in your thinking for that long. So you don't feel bored at the end of 3 months and saying, oh, now this subject is out of me.
Okay, so Neerja gave you a lot of creative satisfaction undoubtedly. What about financial satisfaction?
Well, I didn't do it for the financial satisfaction. I think that what happens is that you there is a certain, what they call as an entry fee, and they call as being part of the club. And I think that what has now happened is that...
Which means Mr. Kasbekar didn't pay you enough.
No, it's not that. I don't think that is fair.
No.
I think that...
well,
no,
I have to ask something unfair.
No, it's not fair at all. I think what happened was that the film's budget was of a certain... This was what the film's budget was. And therefore, whatever that the film's budget can afford is what needed to be done. The fact that it became a success is a different thing altogether. But I'm here to make sure that I'm within the film's budget.
Okay. Any last words?
Well, just as a thing, what hassles me now is not success or failure of my next film, whatever it may be, but that I can try and see if I can put some value system into society. And I think what people reacted to was the value system. Whether it's Mossiji, or whether it is my family in Rajkot or Lucknow or Indore, I think that, or whether it is the kids who are there, and the youth. I think what happened was they reacted to the value system that the film stood for, and that's really, I think, important for me to put out.
Okay. Sounds noble, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've got commercial success, we've got critical success, we have personal success. I like the film.
Modest.